Hello, good morning to all, dear authors and invited guests. Welcome to the technical session 1E. I am Ritik Gohel, the moderator of this session. You can contact me. You can contact me in chat box if you have any query or questions. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to all to welcome you to in the 6th International Conference on Information and Communication Technology for Intelligent System through Zoom. Moreover, as you know, we have been dealing with the new normal situation as we recover from the pandemic. Hence, the conference has been shifted to a hybrid mode. We hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and the interactive session through the day. We also hope to have you to at future physical version of this conference. Also, there is a special note for the presenter. You will be given 7 to 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for question and answer. On 7 minutes, I will raise the gentle reminder. So please stick to the time limit. And I request to other participants while presentation is going on, other participants kindly be muted. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce our session chair, Dr. Narendra Londe. Just a second. Yes. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Ritik. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Narendra Londe, sir, is presently working as a associate professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering of National Institute of Technology, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. He has completed his BE from Ahmedabad University in 2000, followed by MTech and PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, in the year 2006 and 11 respectively. He has a 14 years of rich experience of academics and research. He has published more than 150 articles in recognized journals, conferences, and books. His main areas of research include medical signals and image processing, biomedical instrumentation, speech signal processing, biometrics, intelligent healthcare, brain-computer interface, artificial intelligence, and also pattern recognition. He has been awarded by organizations like Taiwan Society of Ultrasound in Medicine, Ultrasonic Society of India, and NIT Raipur. He is an active member of different recognized societies from his area of research, including senior membership of IEEE. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you,
So,
Ritik.
okay. Can we start, sir? Our presenter.
Yes. Please call the first presenter.
Okay, sir. Okay, now I would like to start with the first presenter. I would like to invite M. Karthika, and her paper title is on a survey on diagnosis of hyperglycemia and hyperglycemia using backpropagation algorithm in deep learning. Hello,
Good morning, ma'am.
Karthika. Good morning. You can please start your presentation, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I can't share the screen, ma'am.
Uh,
Host disabled participants screen sharing.
just a second.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now you can share your slide.
Okay, ma'am.
Just try.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is visible, but please make a full screen.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, now it is visible, ma'am.
No, it is not visible. Make a full screen.
Ma'am, Ma'am, it is in full screen only, ma'am.
Okay, you can do one thing. Stop share screen and then you can full screen. Now make a full screen.
Ma'am,
Hello.
is it visible, ma'am?
No.
Ma'am, it is in full screen only, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. You can start.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all. Myself M. Kartika. I am from M. Kumarasamy College of Engineering, Karur. Our title is a survey on diagnosis of hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia using backpropagation algorithm in deep learning. Our team members are Mr. V. Rajeshram, Meena, Srimugi, and Kaushik Karthikeyan. This is the objective of our project. Here, the main objective of our project is to predict the diabetes disease from the data set we collected using deep learning algorithm. Here, the deep learning algorithm we are using as a backpropagation algorithm. By using this algorithm, we also improve the accuracy in disease prediction and also will provide a diagnosis information. In this project, we are just implementing the deep learning techniques to predict the multiple diabetes diseases such as type 1 and type 2 diabetes disease. And the next is an introduction of our project.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. It is not movable your screen. Right now it is movable. So continue, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. And the next is the introduction of our project. Here in today's world, numerous people are influenced by diabetes mellitus, and this diabetes mellitus is nothing but a collection of chronic disease characterized by increase in blood glucose level and reduction in insulin levels in the body. High glucose level can lead to chronic disease. So it's very important to take some steps to reduce the risk of this chronic disease. And here we predicting whether it is a type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, and that is a main motive of our project. And the next is a proposed system architecture. Here we are first providing the data set, and that data set consists of various attributes like a blood glucose level of the patient, BMI level, age, pregnancies, and skin thickness, etc. In this data set, we are just taking a PIMA Indian data set. That is a training part of our project. And this is given to the pre-processing step. Pre-processing step is nothing but removal of unwanted and mismatching data. And the next step is feature selection. Here we'll select whether it is a type 1 or type 2 diabetes disease. And all this training phase is given to the database, which is stored, which is consist of trained data set. And the next step is we'll predict whether the patient is having diabetes or not. If the patient is having diabetes, we'll send it is a type 1 or type 2 diabetes disease. And this information is given to the user through SMS to the user registered mobile phone. And the overview of our project is this. And the next is a modules. We are taking 5 modules in our project. The first module is dataset acquisition, and the second is pre-processing. Third is feature selection, and the fourth is classification. Last is disease diagnosis. First is dataset acquisition. This is the first module of our project, and here is nothing but collection of data. In this module, we'll just upload the diabetes data set, and that data set consists of 6 attributes like glucose, insulin level, blood pressure of the patient, BMI level of the patient, skin thickness, age of the patient, etc. And the second module is pre-processing. This pre-processing step is very important in our project because we'll only take the structured data set, and this pre-processing step is used to remove the irrelevant data. And here we also implement the missing value estimation. And the third module is a feature selection. This feature selection is used to select the multiple features from the uploaded data set. That data set is having some 6 attributes, and that data set is trained with various disease levels such as type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. And the fourth module is a classification module. This classification module is used to predict the diabetes disease, whether it is a type 1 or type 2. And here the users can provide the features and automatically predict the diabetes disease. Here the deep learning algorithm is used. In deep learning algorithm, we are just taking the back propagation algorithm to improve the accuracy project to predict the diabetes disease. And the last module is a disease diagnosis. In this disease diagnosis, we'll provide the information based on the predicted diabetes disease. And this predicted information is sent to the user in the form of SMS or voice alert through a notification. And our project provide improved accuracy in diabetes disease prediction. And finally, I'm used to concluded my project. Based in the survey, we are just using backpropagation algorithm with neural network algorithm, which will provide the improved accuracy rate. In future, we'll try to improve the efficiency of the performance by applying some data mining techniques and algorithm. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, thank you, Riddhi. Thank you, Kartika, for this
Thank you, sir.
presentation. See, this is a review that you have done for diabetes disease diagnosis, right?
Yes, sir.
And what I understood here that you have learned about the stages involved into the diagnosis of that disease, and you are described here into this paper. So module 1, module 2, and module 3 likewise. Okay. One thing I would like to ask you, you have one module of feature extraction. Okay. When you are applying a deep learning algorithm, the deep learning algorithm itself will do the feature extraction on its own. So why do you need to extract the features further?
Sir, because we are just characterizing type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, sir. So we are just feature selection process is very mandatory in this project, sir.
What features you may be extracting? Can you tell me some of the features of that?
Features is nothing but blood pressure, glucose level, BMI, age of the person, and skin thickness of the patient, etc., sir.
Okay, that way you're calling them as a features, like some physiological parameters are there. Okay, fine. Okay, Kartika, thank you. Riddhi, we can call the next.
Yes, sure, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, shall I leave or I should be in
Yes,
line, ma'am?
no, you can please stay still the closing remarks, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so our next presenter is Jatindra Kumar and Saini, but instead of Dr. Prafulla Bafne will be presenting, and uh, and the title is Identification of Malayalam Stoppers, Stop Terms, and Stop Lemmas using NLP. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. I can see your screen.
Is it
Okay,
in
perfect.
presentation mode?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, perfect.
Okay. So my paper title is Identification of Malayalam Stop Words, Stop Lames and Stop Lemmas using Natural Language Processing. First, let's understand why it's need to have these types of techniques to be introduced. What happens is more than 75% of the data is in the form of text. And if you want to extract any information from that text, then there are so many applications which will support these types of techniques. For example, document clustering is there, document management is there. All these operations require text mining, and for text mining you have different steps to be implemented. And the very first step in the text mining is text pre-processing. English language is generally used by all researchers or multiple researchers, but regional language are very low resourced language, and that's why we have chosen this Malayalam language, so that it will be helpful for the researchers who will be doing their tasks in Malayalam language. uh, Extracting topics, document management are different types of applications which are needed, and these applications need pre-processing, and that's why we have chosen one of the operations in the text mining, that is pre-processing. Why this operation is being chosen? Because pre-processing, if pre-processing is accurate, then next operations or next uh, steps in the natural language processing or text mining will be accurate. And that's why this very basic operations of pre-processing we have chosen, in which we are dealing with the stop words. Stop words are those words in any document which do not contribute or which contribute in very less manner for decision making or for any application, and that's why removal of stop words is important. Stop words list is available for English language, but for the regional language, the list of stop words is not readily available, or the list which is available has so many problems. And that's why we have chosen the approach to develop stop words for Malayalam language. For developing stop words, or for getting the list of stop words, we have applied this methodology, in which first we have collected data of Malayalam language, then we have pre-processed that corpus, we have retrieved unique words and their frequencies, then we have used threshold value to find the list of stop words, and then after finding the threshold value, we have applied stemming and lemmatization. Stemming and lemmatization is getting word into its original form. So for example, if you are saying running, then run will be its original form. So we want to have all the words into the original form to avoid redundancy in the document clustering application. And then we have generated the final revised list of the stop words. For getting threshold value, as there is no strong literature which is available, we have communicated with the available domain experts, and then we have given them the documents, and then we have asked them to get the threshold value for those stop words. And you can see this these threshold values are being observed by different types of domain experts, and then average value was found out to get the threshold value of the stop words. These are some example of stop words and their lemmatized one. As I have told, that getting into the original form of that verb, it is termed as lemmatized verb. Here is sample example of stop words and their English translation. So if you can see, these words do not contribute so much in any document management application or in text mining, we can say. So these are sample stop words and their English translation. We have also found out the most frequently used consonants from the stop words list and non-stop words. So these are the consonants and their frequencies which was observed in our entire corpus. This is listing of vowels. So whatever research we have done, in which we have included consonants and vowels and their frequency, their equivalent percentage, and then percentage out of total words. These are the top 5 used stop words which are common amongst the corpus, and you can see these stop words with their frequencies. The stop words list, which is available in Malayalam language, has so many defects, which was confirmed by the domain experts, and that's why we have developed the stop words list, which is now publicly available. We have developed the stop words having 123 list, 123 count, and then we have also presented lemmatized and stained stop words in that list. Also, while presenting this list, we have considered whatever available list was there on Google, and then we have presented 100 most commonly used stop words by comparing the available list. The future work is associated with the performance evaluation of the list that is being available publicly. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bafna. I'm happy to see that Indian researchers are focusing on the own regional languages, and I congratulate for that to you. One question is there, Dr. Bafna, that you said in your title that it is using natural language processing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But I really do not find much application of the natural language processing into this your particular project, because it is mostly a thresholding that you have applied, and that too based on the expert's opinion. So did I miss anything, or we are missing something in that?
No, sir. Actually, natural language processing, because as we are proceeding on Malayalam language, that's why in title we have included that natural language processing.
Okay. Natural language processing, because you are taking those languages. Okay,
Yes,
fine,
yes.
fine. Regarding this stem words, stop words, okay. What was the idea behind choosing this project for,
Yeah.
or deciding on that stop words, stem words, and
Yes, yes, yes. I'll tell you, sir. Actually, what happened, we have decided to have a document management directly on Malayalam corpus that was available. So whatever list was there, which was publicly available, first we retrieved that list and we have started our processing. But then we observed that the entropy that we got for that document management was so low, and then we somehow felt that the pre-processing techniques are not matured for this natural language processing. And then instead of directly working on applications, we have decided that let's refine the pre-processing techniques. Let's have a very basic idea of pre-processing techniques to be implemented, so that if pre-processing techniques are improved, then only the final applications will be improved. And then we have decided to look into this stopwords list. Just add to my description, this is, we have worked for Malayalam, and then we thought for working for Kannada language also, because we were confused that only for Malayalam language it is not giving accuracy, or for other language also. So we have started working on Kannada language also, and then we have realized that even Kannada language is low resource language, and then we have decided that choose regional language and work on very basic techniques of stop words and pre-processing and selecting features, and then go for the applications.
okay, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Bafna. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bafna, for your excellent presentation on this topic.
Thank you.
Okay. So our next presenter is just a second. Our next presenter is Pranav Ratnaparki, and he will be present on explainable AI for sentiment and sentiment analysis.
Yes, so should I share my screen?
Okay. Yes, you can share your screen.
So am I in presentation mode?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So good morning, jury. I am Pranav Ratnaparki, representing Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, and today's topic for this conference is explainable AI for sentiment analysis. So the guide for our project was Pavita N. Ma'am, and the other authors are Ashay More, Shwetank Raj, Aspar Uzer, and Prathamesh Yadav. They couldn't attend today's conference as we had some issue with our college admission process. So today I will be the sole presenter for this paper. So the presentation flow for today's presentation will be as follow. First I'll mention the abstract and briefly explain what is the topic of our project and what are the technologies and such which we have used. Then we'll move on to the introduction, which will contain the motivation of the project and such other topics. Then we'll move on to the theory, which is nothing other than methodology or what is the actual implementation of our project. Then I will report what are the important findings which I got from this project. After that, I will conclude this presentation with conclusion, and the end of the presentation will be the references for the paper. So here is the abstract too. So I'll explain this abstract in a brief rather than just reading it out. So the topic for this, our topic is explainable AI. So explainable AI is a field of artificial intelligence where we try to explain why a certain model, a certain machine learning model, deep learning model, or any other model has a behavior, or why it gives a certain output on a certain input, or why it gives a certain high accuracy. And explainable AI tries to explain this model with help of certain tools, which are also called as explainable AI tools. So basically, we are trying to implement these explainable AI tools on sentiment analysis model, and particularly we have chosen Twitter sentiment analysis because Twitter was in a bit of controversy around January 2021 because of American election, and people thought that Twitter had some alternative motto because they were automatically banning tweets. So there is a secondary aim for this project is that we want to explain how a sentiment analysis model works, and that how the automated process is not biased. So coming to the key definition abbreviation, explainable AI is also called as XAI. And as I just explained it earlier, it's a process and method that allows human users to comprehend and trust the result and output generated by machine learning algorithms. And the background for this technology is as AI and machine learning has become more powerful in this decade, and people are generally trying to use machine learning as a get-to-all term, and then do not understand like what exactly is going under the hood. And many times even the researchers who have created the model don't understand how the model particularly works, in the sense like why it gives a certain output for a certain input. So this creates a concept called black box, that is we don't know what goes inside of it. And explainable AI tries to help us answer this kind of question and help us to understand this black box concept. So coming to the literature survey, for our particular paper, we have referred about 13 papers, but I couldn't add all of them. So just to give you an idea of what kind of literature survey we have done for our paper, I have added two key papers which we have found. So one is Contextual Semantics of Sentiment Analysis of Twitter. So the authors in this project presented an innovative approach that has the capability to associate context-specific sentiment inclined towards a term. They have given this model to a senti circle. They have represented the utilization of this model for sentiment recognition at both entity level as well as tweet level. But the one drawback which we found in this paper was they didn't differentiate. They had quite a binary approach to categorizing sentiments. And as we'll progress further into our presentation, you will see why it may be a problem. And the approach which we have used, called the Russell's model, is give a much more holistic approach to sentiment analysis. Then the next paper was more of towards work done in explainable AI field, called Peeking Inside a Black Box, a survey on explainable artificial intelligence. So in this paper, we have found various techniques discussed for explainable AI. The authors went on to show a detailed categorization of techniques of explainability by keeping the type of challenges faced in mind. So it's more of a survey-based paper where they have used explainable AI tools on various different use cases and given result based on how useful they found one particular tool was. I also mentioned the particular publication here for each of the paper. The first paper was published in 2016, the other was published in 2018. Now coming to the introduction part, so coming to the potential application part, as I have said, with the help of explainable AI, we can build trust between masses, that is the general populace, and the AI. So generally people don't believe, don't they tend to not believe machine learning based sentiment analysis and such censoring techniques, let's say. And therefore by through this paper we are trying to establish a more trust towards between masses and AI, and it will also help people to understand how intelligent model works. So it will give a general understanding of how machine learning model works, and they may be a more frank towards that particular field. It also increases the credibility of social media sites. As we all know, majority of the social media sites have automatic moderation of the content which they have posted, on which user posts their any like art, text or images or videos. And people, if they get banned, tend to believe that they have some, or the social media has some alternative motive towards them. Also, due to explainable AI, as people gain more trust towards machine learning and AI, it will bolster the development of AI. That is, we will get to see a huge improvement in development of AI as more people will try to work on this particular field.
Hello. Sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
Please just wrap it in 2 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. So I will just I'll just in brief I'll explain the theory and the end results. So the dataset which we have used was scrapped from Twitter API. For this model, we are using SVM learning algorithm, and the accuracy for which we got was about 85%. The dataset was actually ranked by humans on various sentimental values, and by SPM values, we have trained the model to assign certain keywords to values. One is valence and one is arousal. So how is sentiment determined? When the input is passed to the when the input is passed to the model, it will filter out the keywords and assign them valence and arousal value. After getting this valence and arousal value, with the help of these keywords, the overall sentiment of the sentence is calculated. As I have said before, we are using Russell's model for sentiment analysis, and I'll show you the graph for Russell's model in the coming slide. So this is the Russell's model for sentiment analysis. So these are the different sentiments which Russell models classify. So for example, I have included the word love in the input. So I have included all the tweets which contain the word love in this particular and gave it to this model. And as you can see, the model is generally more inclined towards pleasant, elated, happy, serene, and contented emotions. And this quite checks out, as love is usually considered a universal positive word. But coming to more of a negative kind of words like election, corruption, or politics, we can see people are generally tend to be diverse on this topic. Some people find these topics unpleasant, sad, or upset, and some people are quite happy to have a great debate on this topic. So we can see people are divided on these topics here. Now coming to the second tool which we have used, that is the tag map, which are the other words and the sentiments related to those words combined with the keyword which we have passed. So we can see, if we are taking the positive side of the keywords election, corruption, and politics, we can see commission, running, and anti-legislative, such words used as the active or pleasant words. And coming to the negative side, variables such as failure, weeks, Trump, or such words are considered more as a subdued and unpleasant tweets. So coming to the result and discussion from the observation which we gathered using the visualization tool, we can safely say that the part of classifying sentiment is prone to human bias. As I have said before, the sentiment which was assigned to the particular trick was taken as a human input, And so to avoid this particular bias, what we need to do is we need to get a more we need to get more random we need to get a random sample of people without any bias. When we moved on to a more complex analysis where we use keywords election, corruption, and politics, we find users are generally subdued about it and tend to favor positive x-axis, though not an insignificant number of people around x-axis. This shows that people are generally relaxed, not bothering to get themselves opinionated on this matter. This shows passive trend to keywords which may give us impression of being neutral on their own. Correlation of results with potential application. The proposed XAI model works and help people understand how sentiments are classified. As not long ago, Twitter was controversial and people believed the company was biased towards one particular spectrum. And this research will help people understand why and how machine learning model rates their sentiment. I guess I should just skip on the conclusion as I have just said it in the previous slide. So these are the references. Now I'm open to question answers.
Yes, Mr. Pranav.
Yes, sir.
Sentiment analysis is being also done by some standard softwares, those who are available with the Twitter also and with the Facebook also. In
Yes,
fact,
sir.
there are some other agencies as well, those who are doing this sentiment analysis, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So have you used those, because those are also open source softwares? Okay, did you use them and see whether their results and your results are coming close, or some
Yes,
analysis,
sir.
comparative analysis on that?
Yes, sir. So actually, before building our model, we actually referred some blogs and the material published by Twitter on the sentiment analysis and how it works on their side. So,
Hmm.
even on their side, they use human input to determine a particular sentiment of a word, and they train their model to try to predict sentiment based on those particular inputs. So our model is quite close to that, to the model which was developed by Twitter. It may not be as accurate, but the overall general accuracy was near about the same.
No, in that case, what I'm saying that if they are having their own sentimental analysis softwares and everything, there and expecting them as a leader into these social media sites like Twitter and Facebooks, they must have developed them with the uh, needful amount of data and the quality of the technical concepts, or the what I'll say, classification methodology, like you have used SVM, they might have used deep learning or something else, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to understand that when there is something better is available already in the literature, what has motivated you to conduct this particular research?
Yes, sir. So to answer your question, the particular research was more focused toward explainable AI. So if I want to explain someone how a machine learning or this model works, I need to build a model on my own, and that's the reason I built a model on my own and rather not use the ready-made models. So and I could understand what goes deep down inside when we are building a model. What are the decisions we need to make and such.
Okay, thank you, Pranav. Okay, fine. Riddhi?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Pranav.
Okay, thanks. So should I stop the presentation?
Yes, stop. So I would like to invite our next presenter, A. Neela Madheshwari, and her paper title is on text-to-speech synthesis of Indian languages with prosody generation for blind person. Hello, ma'am. You can please start your presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, good afternoon,
First,
ma'am.
can I share my screen first? So that,
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
yeah, is it visible?
Yes, it's perfect. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Continue.
thank you.
Yes.
So, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for this ICTIS 2022 conference committee members for accepting my paper, that is text-to-speech synthesis of Indian languages with prosody generation for blind persons. So myself, Dr. Yanila Madheshwari, I am working as a professor in Mahindra Engineering College, Namakkal, India. So the contents I want to cover in this topic is introduction, text-to-speech synthesis, converting text input to speech engine, what we are using, system evaluation, what is the text input we are using in this system, actual observation, conclusion, and references. So all of us understand very well, and all of us know very well that the main mode of communication for exchanging our information is by means of speech in general. So text-to-speech synthesis is also one of the important fields where we have to take care of. So if you are referring the blind persons, a lot of efforts were put forward by government of India as well as Tamil Nadu government. So while if you are considering the blind persons are physically impaired also, so they are facing a lot of challenges in their day-to-day lives. So in order to assist them, we are developing a particular project or work so that they can understand the text to means whatever the text we are giving input, they will be hearing in the form of a speech. So for that we are selecting this topic so that we are focusing only on Indian languages. The given input we are given in the form of English. So the English text is converted into corresponding Indian languages here. So the actual process over here is we have to give the English text input as an input. So here we have to perform this text and linguistic analysis. From this we have to get the phonetic output, and then we have to go for prosody and speech generation. So finally we are getting the synthesized speech. So in our work we are generating the speech also, as well as speech also as a separate level, and we are generating the speech with prosody also as a separate level. So for this we are using the ICTIS API, that is Google Text-to-Speech API, for this conversion of text input to speech. And this ICTIS API supports various languages, not only Indian languages, it supports a lot of languages, French, German, etc. So we can explore more over there. So here we are using the Python for the conversion of text to speech. Here in Python we are having PyTT-S3 speech engine. So what is the advantage of using that one means it will support the speech synthesis of different voices under different frequencies, and it also supports for ACAPA 5, that is Speech Application Programming Interface, which is a standard technology for voice recognition and synthesis. So we are generating the speech in Indian languages such as Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bangla, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, Nepali, and Punjabi. So all these Indian languages we are whatever the English text we are giving, so that is converted into its equivalent Indian languages form in the form of MP3 audio file. So that is the file output we are getting. So we are generating the output in two different forms. That is the audio file with prosody can also be generated, and for that, what is the execution time or time complexity is calculated. Similarly, the audio file without prosody is also generated, and the corresponding execution time is calculated. Also, the output audio files is also noted for every execution of the Indian languages. So the parameters what we have considered for our proposed system is the execution time and audio file size. So the file generated for every Indian language by considering prosody generation and without prosody generation are analyzed. So the table below specifies the various parameters for the Indian languages. So we have considered up to 10 languages: Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bangla, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, Nepali, and Punjabi. So for each and every language, the execution time was noted with and without prosodic consideration. So this execution time is measured in terms of milliseconds, and we are calculating the average execution time for both the thing, that is with and without prosodic generation. Similarly, the audio file size is also noted with and without prosodic generation, and its average is calculated. And this is the English text input file we are given as a common input for our system. So we are giving the text input, and it is converted into specified Indian language in MP3 audio file format with and without prosodic generation, and the equivalent execution time and audio file size is noted and given here.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry for interruption. Please, you can conclude your presentation,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Thank you.
definitely. Only 1 minute I can take. So this is the execution time for obtaining audio file with and without prosodic generation. So for the same 10 languages is noted here. Similarly, the audio file size with and without prosodic generation is also given. So from the figure, it is very clearly identified that Marathi language takes less execution time for both audio generation with and without prosodic generation, and Punjabi and Bangla languages take more execution time for speech synthesis for audio generation without prosodic consideration. From the second figure, we can identify clearly that Marathi language takes less audio file size for both prosodic consideration and without prosodic consideration. Punjabi language takes large audio files for speech synthesis for both audio generation with and without prosodic generation. So here we are considering the overall text-to-speech synthesis for various, that is up to 10 languages. The main parameters considered in this system are execution time and audio file size. So it can be extended further by considering the accuracy of the system, whether the text is properly converted or not can be considered, and we can include the emotion also while generating the speech. So these things we can improve further, and how to improve the quality of speech can also be analyzed. So the main purpose of the system is for assisting the blind people whenever they are away from their home environment. So these are all my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Neela Madheswari, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is such a important work that you are conducting in your research. Looking into what you have presented, I just could understand that you have done it for by using a Google tool and tried to convert the text speech into the different languages of Indian languages.
Yeah.
And based on the execution time and everything, then you had did this analysis that how much time is required to the different languages, execution time, and the size of the audio file that you have that has been generated.
Yes.
Now, what I feel here that there are already existing some tools are there which are able to convert those text files into the speech files, audio speech files. Okay.
Yes.
Like even Google has that sort of tool. Your mobile phones are having those sort of tools. There are a lot of apps those who are coming nowadays. So will those other tools and that those apps will be difficult to handle by the blind people to learn?
Actually, we have to compare those things. Actually, the practical tool, what you are saying is correct. Actually, we are having already, but the comparison I have missed over here. I accept those things, but we can do as a future work in those things.
Right. No, I was just asking that will that be difficult for the blind people to handle those applications, or we have to give some additional you will be giving some additional texture to your particular tool so that they can handle it? Because when I am saying that it is a mobile app, it is not possible for a blind person.
Yes, we have to develop as a model. we have to take this work as a for generating as a model so that they can understand proper. So we have to enhance further so that practical implementation has to be carried out. Then it is very applicable for them. So it's initial stage, I think so.
Able to
Am I audible? I can't hear.
I think
Yeah, now it
yes,
is audible.
yes. I think sir has lost her connection, lost his connection. So thank you, ma'am, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Can I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am. Please stop the share.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to invite our next presenter, Devendra Kumar Beniwal, and his paper title on sustainability of green buildings and comparing different rating agencies.
Good morning, jury members. Good morning, host madam, and my dear friends. My name is Devendra Baniwal, and I am from UIET MDU Rohtak. And today I am presenting my paper named Sustainability of Green Building. Uh, are my slides shareable?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Are they available now?
Yes, it is available, but please make a full screen.
Okay, give me a second. Here it is.
Yes, yes, perfect. Go ahead.
Inconvenience regretted, my friends. So my topic of research is sustainability of green building and comparing different rating agencies. As we all know today that Earth is destroying and it is degrading at a very faster rate. Yesterday we have celebrated Earth Day. That's why the green building topic is very relevant to it. And the construction sector in our country, actually whole across the globe, is very much responsible for it. As a result, tons of waste is getting produced every year, causing damage to our environment. In order to reduce nature's degradation and to promote green technology, green buildings construction is essential to reduce depleting ecosystem. Here I want to explain what a green building means and what are its objectives. A green building is a building that in its construction, design, operation, it reduces or eliminates the negative impacts on our environment and is ecologically more compatible while its operation with our ecological system. There are various green building rating agencies such as LEED, BREEAM, CASB, GRIHA, Greenmark, etc. all across the globe, which are uh, enhancing and emphasizing the green energy. So in this paper, I am covering all that part. As we know that a large number of energy is required in the manufacturing and transport of the materials used in the green construction. That's why in constructing a green building, apart from a normal building, we use recycled waste. We reduce the more energy consumption elements. Because of the country's population continuously growing and the urbanization is demanded at higher rates. So today we are developing smart cities, and it is very essential that during the developing and the development of smart cities, we should take consideration of the emitting greenhouse gases, environmental depletion rate, global warming, loss of biodiversity. And that's why the green building concept is very successful in today's world. On an average, a 50% of landfill waste and a 40% of energy consumption, 40% of water pollution can be decreased in order to compare a normal building and a green building. My friends, a smart environment has a various specific needs, smart applications, which are needed to be addressed before implementing, before operating. And it should be confirmed in operation of the green building. There should be minimum use of resources which deplete our ecosystem. A green building concept follows various organizations to significantly improve and enhance the utilization of city resources. Green building concept improve the quality of life. It reduces the operational cost also, not in the short term, but in longer run. Why do we need green building? Various authors have explained in different years. Like in 2017, Zhou Hu from China, he explained the green building sustainable development and review of green building development from project management view, from economical point of view. Similarly, another scientist and researcher, May Lewin, in 2021, he researched on green building assessment indicators, particularly in Myanmar. And his result displayed energy efficiency and water efficiency. And researcher from India named Vishantini in 2018, she used green building rating tools to examine effectiveness of green building rating agencies in Asian countries. Am I audible? Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, you are audible. You are
Okay.
audible.
Moving forward from the literature part of view, coming to the sustainability of green building. Basically, the main objective of the green building is to develop buildings which use the natural resources to minimize the time of consumption as well as operation. The construction of green building also encourages the sustainable use of existing resources to decrease the degrading of the natural resources from our Mother Earth. And that's why the concept energy reduction and renewable energy use comes in the sector of construction. If I discuss an office building, I can assure you a 60% of losses are due to the ventilation system. Most of the energy is used to keep our buildings temperature friendly, to make it cool, or to make the indoor environment warm.
Mr. Beniwal, kindly conclude. Okay.
Sorry, sir, for taking more time. I will try to conclude. So, as you can see in the posture of a building, the 26% of energy is reduced from the window panels. 9% is deflected by walls if you use particular measurements. The floor also contributes in 8% energy loss. And the ventilation and air infiltration, as I discussed earlier, is responsible for 36% of energy loss. There are various green building assessment systems all across the globe. And the one goal is to promote green building and green construction. A rating system is a tool that evaluates the performance of a building on different aspects and their impact on the environment. All type of building certification systems reward any building based on its performance and ability to achieve environment saving goals. Here are few countries and their green building rating tools. And India is also among us, but not very popular one. I have seen in many research carried out all across the globe, I have seen and noticed that they do not consider Indian Green Building Council. So I want, and my paper aims to take it more further. The first green building rating system is leadership in energy and environmental. LEED is the first rating certificate system developed by USA, and there are 7 basic concepts where it assesses the parameters of a green building, that is environmental preferable building material, energy efficiency and renewable energy, toxic reduction, smart growth and sustainable development, waste reduction, water efficiency, indoor air quality. The air quality index of a green building enhances accordingly, and so is the psychology of the persons working in it. By explaining waste reduction, I mean to say the excrete we are producing from a house can be used in different manner. The water waste from a kitchen can be used in toilets. Water can be used efficiently also to maintain air quality.
Hello.
The oldest.
Sorry for interruption, sir. Please come up with conclusion in next 2 minutes, sir.
Surely, madam. The oldest green building rating system is BREEAM, developed in 1990 by United Kingdom, which is the mother to all the green building systems, which enhance and encourages other countries to take part in it. And similarly, GRIHA is developed by India. It is developed by TERI, Tata Energy and Research Institute. It is one of the most newly developed green building rating systems, developed in 2007. Indigenously built in India, by India, for India. Also, we use Lead India in context to rate our green buildings. Here is a table showing the different aspects of different rating systems with the green building rating system in India named GRIHA. And here we can see that BREEAM, which is the oldest one, have completed a 5,61,000 total green building projects. Also, LEED have completed 85,000 projects. And GRIHA is now becoming more popular in India. It have 5 certification levels, and it is contributing its part in the green building sector. My paper covers in-depth knowledge of green building and their rating agencies, the present scenario, and an overview of countries' most efficient green building rating systems across the globe. This paper also gave a glimpse of the sustainable development in construction sector. Due to the shortage of time, I might not be able to fully convince and comply my thoughts.
Okay, Mr. Beniwal, not a problem. Okay. See, I have only one very important question to you, that we have Indian Green Building Council there. Okay. We have
Yes,
GRIHA rating system also there. Okay.
yes.
But still, its adaptation in India is very poor.
Yes.
What could be the reasons behind this?
Sir, there is a very basic and very important reason behind it, that we are not aware. Our system is not adapting the changes we should have to adapt according to the countries. In China, they have adopted the US green building LEED, and then they implement their own green building rating systems. Similarly, CASB by Japan, and they have made it mandatory to get a certification level, to get a certificate after complete the construction of a building. They make it mandatory to first pass their design of building in green construction also. They provide certificate and then construction begins. In India, we see no there such rules and regulations. We should be strict and we should be followed more seriously. This is the main reason we are
Right.
lacking.
It is, that's what I'm saying. It is about the awareness, as you said very correctly. The people should be aware, and they should, similarly, there should be the system should be there, which should ensure the application of the policies and the whatever rating system that has been developed. Okay. So
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Beniwal,
Thank
for
you.
your nice information sharing with us regarding the green building.
Thank you.
Uh, Next candidate, please.
So I would like to invite our next presenter. Sorry. Ashutosh Bahuguna, and his paper title is on design and execution of cyber attacks simulation for practice oriented experiential learning. Yes, sir. You can start your presentation.
Yeah, sure. Just a moment, please. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone present here. So, the title of this work and research is on, the designing and executing a cyber attack simulation for practice-oriented and experiential learning. So, let me share with you shortly that what the problems are and what we are trying to solve. So as we know, we have a dynamic threat landscape. We are moving towards the hyper-connected societies, and we are connecting more and more devices, and including our critical infrastructure and essential services are coming up on the ICT. And, the disruption on that can cause, the havoc, kind of the, difficult to survive and provide essential services, or like the financial services, or like the water supply or the cleaning. And we are connecting our devices like IoT, we are aware about industrial IoT, we are aware about. So there are along with that dependency, there is a threats, cyber attacks and cyber crisis threats, which are, coming up. Attackers are changing their techniques, and sophisticated attacks are coming up, such as the ransomware and cyber extortion through data breach. And in the critical infrastructures like energy and the space and the power, we see the disruption and destructions of essential services and infrastructure. On the IoT side, our home product and our personal systems, like our smart refrigerator, there are Mirai and the breaker bot kind of the threats which are available and is exploiting. So what I was trying to say, there is along with the development and dependency on the ICT and moving towards that speed and connectivity, there are threats we have to counter at every level, at an individual level, at organizational level, at sector level, at a country level. And of course, cyber is a vector which is having the international dimensions. So we cannot solve our problems alone. So what is happening is that what we picked up from there is that if you look at the industry reports, such as from the Mandant and FireEye, and so different reputed vendors, there is a shortage of the skills, shortage of the cyber professionals. Even if we want to recruit the people for doing the cyber security, let's say in the industrial control system or the SCADA or operational technology, it's very difficult to find such a people who can do, who is having a domain knowledge also and who can do the cyber security stuff also. National cyber security policy of India is having a vision of to create a 5 lakh professional skilled in cyber security through capacity building. So when we research on this domain, that we identify what are the challenges and gaps in capacity building. So the cyber security and type of the threat landscape is a dynamic. So one-sided classroom teaching or the knowledge sharing is not sufficient in that. So what the more we have to look at is not only the knowledge, but building the skills also. And when that knowledge and skills combine, it comes up with the abilities to, conduct the incident investigation, dealing with the crisis, doing the forensic investigation and things like that. So still, in cybersecurity, there is a one-sided classroom. There is a lack of interactive and simulated environment. So can we have some platform which, we can provide to the participants or learner where they can, experience the cyber threats, experience the cyber attack, and can they practice, the response and defense techniques on that platform? Then the formal learning models and pedagogical principles such as the Bloom's revised taxonomy. What we are teaching to people is only, at a lower hierarchy, that we are only sharing the knowledge, but we are not giving them the skills required to think critically or to build a higher order skill set. So these are the gaps we identified, that there is a lack of clear learning objectives are not defined. It's difficult to assess the learner attainment, how much he learn through your teaching or through your exercises or through your simulations. And in academia, specifically the data scenario. So there are international exercises and domestically also done in India for different sectors. So the exercises like done by the ITU and NISA, European agency, and Cyberstorm in United States. So, but those exercises and that stuff and technical setups, those are marked confidential, and it's only limited and public press release information is available. So we thought to create an artifact, we thought to create a test bed, to for this cyber attack simulation, which can be used for the. So these are the we listed the 4 clear research objective. We want to implement and execute cyber attack simulation on test bed, which will be the sandbox environment. That means it's safe to simulate the attacks and it's safe to practice the for the participants. And then we thought to mapping formal learning models for building higher order skill set. We will see in the next slide what I'm talking about, the higher order skill set. And then the result of this experiment to inform that effectiveness of this approach. That means that we are planning to go for the empirical validation of this approach through recruiting 100+ organization and following them for the, let's say for the 8 to 9 months, that how much they attend and what is the effectiveness, whether this kind of approach is effective in building the, the desired skill set in that particular sector or in that particular domains, let's say the health sector. So, the health sector professionals. So we are creating a cybersecurity skill set, cybersecurity requirements specific to the health sector. We ask them to participate in the simulations and the attack relevant to health sector, and then follow them, track them for this validation. So this, I was talking about, many of you may be aware about this, that what in the classroom, this one-sided teaching or in cybersecurity especially, what is happening is that only the remembering and understanding concepts. Remembering means that the definitions they know, understanding. By creating this platform, providing this platform and artifacts, what we want to move the participant, to provide the opportunity to move to the higher order skill set, so they can create their own solution. They can evaluate their response plan and skill set. They can analyze the artifacts, so and they can apply that knowledge. So where is the opportunity? We cannot wait for cyber attack and crisis to happen to test our skill set or to analyze our skill set. So we have to provide this opportunity, and so this platform, this test bed is planned accordingly. So it's a practice oriented. It's not a classroom based. It's experiential. That means they feel and they experience the different cyber attack, which is derived from the real world learnings. I mean, the real crisis and real incident of, let's say, the example of the data breach. So in the paper, we given the details of the how that setup was created and what kind of the virtual environment and how that sandbox environment is created. And then these attacks, 6 attacks we simulated initially, the social engineering through the spear phishing attempts, Then the remote access Trojan, key logging and credential stealing, lateral movement inside the network by the attacker, and finally the data breach, confidential data breach of the organization of the target, and then the extortion demand in the bitcoins by the attacker. So, I mean, this is the whole scenario, the step by step. This is the attacker and how he is targeting the employee. This is the easiest way to enter through the spear phishing. That means the targeted phishing email. It's not generic email like a lottery and this thing. The spear phishing emails. Through that, they downloaded a quasar rat, a one remote access Trojan, and then attacker is having control over this employee machine. And then he did something like task scheduling, modifying the registry for key logging of the employee credentials. Then he started scanning the network inside. And then he found the internal server, which is of the value, which is the crown jewel, we can say. And he exploited that vulnerability, exploited server data and keylogger data. And then finally, he displayed the extortion threat that if you are not going to pay me, then I will release this information into public. So such attacks is required a response from the entire hierarchy of the organization, not only from the technical people side, but the top and board members also, because to pay the ransom or not to pay the ransom is the business decision, not a technical one. So like that, we recruited there, and then how to do their skill
Hello,
assessment.
sir. Sorry for
Yes.
interruption.
Last slide.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So there are the assessment, there are questions on the cyber security. And these questions are like this. One example only I will take, like to identify, the phishing email post you are request. So they have to do some investigation. There are a network flow analysis also based question, find the IP address of attacker command and control server. So they have to do the incident and investigation participants and identify what type of data is taken out and conduct the root cause analysis and put up that report. So this is the conclusion and future work. As I already said, in the in a future work we are going for 100 plus recruitment of 100 plus participants, organization for empirical validation of this projects that we will follow them, we will ask them, and then so these are the what we could conclude from this right now is that it's a risk-free environment, and we will release a test bed and scenario for academic research. It's already details in the paper, and the cyber attack simulation and complete cyber kill chain we demonstrated there. And so this practice-oriented simulated cybersecurity attacks, it could be enabling higher order thinking to moving up to the higher up in the pyramid to building the skill set by experiential learning. So thank you. That's all from my side. So if there is any question, I will be happy to take. Thank you.
Mr. Ashutosh, really nice presentation, and I'm really happy to see that MIT is doing such a good thing, developing such test beds, because as a person from the academics, I used to learn that this sort of things, this sort of learning, they are either getting it in real time or they must be reading it in the newspapers or social media or somewhere else here and there. But practicing it in real time, it is not possible for anyone. So I'm really happy, sir, that you have prepared this test bed. Congratulations, heartiest congratulations to you. I have one thing, sir, to understand here, because see, this is a total separate system. Security system is there, cyber system is there, and who is going to use it or who is going to learn from that test systems, he will also be having some physical devices, separate devices, right, sir? So the overall the costing of the system must be very high. So do you have any plans to take this further through the academics, because they giving some training to some specific group of peoples just for understanding what exactly it is? Is it not good that you should take it to the academics and give learning, make it as a part of academics to make the students learn from these things? Do you have any?
Yeah. So definitely, sir, I will make a note down of your suggestion. I have to check few things, I mean, from the official point of view. But that's a really great idea to reduce the cost, and only the browser and the laptop they can do and connect. And if we can provide and set up the kind of the cloud environment or some setup at our end instead of pushing the cost at this thing. So I will try to push that, sir. Definitely. Thank you very much for
Really, sir, really nice, and I'm really happy to see your presentation, sir. And it will be really a good thing if you, because this is how the people are going to be aware about the cyber security, sir. And we need to do it in a mass scale. And if you want to do it in a mass scale, it is better to put it into the academics so that everybody who is learning the technology, he will come out with that awareness about the cyber security. So that is just I could give you only the suggestion. Otherwise, technically, it is really nice, sir. Thank you
yes,
so much.
suggestion I agree, and even we will connect. In the offline mode, and we see how we can get engaged together in future endeavor also.
Cloud computing will surely help us, sir, to reduce your burden. And along with that, if you add up some deep learning or some artificial intelligence, which will give the self-learning to your system, that will be again a benefit. That may be done in the future, sir.
Okay.
So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
sir. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So I would like to invite our next presenter, M. Prem Kumar, and his paper title on product of doubt sci-fi fuzzy subgroup. And I request to all, please stick to the time limit and please repeat in 7 to 8 minutes.
I think he lost his connection. And
Yes, I can see. Yes, sir. So we
may call
bring
some.
our next. Yes. So next presenter is Shwetali Jadhav, and her paper title is on disaster preparedness using augmented reality or virtual reality.
Yes, I'll share my screen.
Okay, ma'am.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, perfect. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon to the entire jury. Firstly, we, the students of Cummins College of Engineering for Women, would like to thank you for accepting our paper titled Disaster Preparedness Using Augmented Reality or Virtual Reality for publication. So the purpose of our project is to train people to be prepared in a disastrous situation. As our project has a very wide scope, we have focused on the disaster fire hazards for now. The idea can be expanded and implemented on any emergency situation. For the time being, we are focusing on residential or domestic fires. So our target customers are basically apartment complex or single family housing. So our project can be used in such areas to educate the residents about evacuation and prevention in an emergency situation. This slide shows a few emergency situations, our focus being the domestic fire, which comprises of ordinary fire, electrical fire, and kitchen fires. So augmented reality. Augmented reality is basically a combination of real environment and superimposed virtual objects. The specifications essential for AR technologies are a camera sensor, GPS sensor, accelerometer sensor, good processing power. So we can basically find all these specifications in a mobile phone. So the project can be implemented in virtual reality as well, but we are focusing on AR as it is cost effective and doesn't necessarily require headgears for the experience. So types of augmented realities. Augmented realities are basically of 4 types: marker-based, markerless, projection-based, and superimposition-based. Marker-based is basically image recognition. Markerless is basically a plane detection Projection based requires a small projector, and superimposition based basically means object tracking, augmented reality. So we are using marker based AR and markerless AR. We are using marker based using a smart card, and markerless for designing the real life like looking fire. So for building an AR application, we need a platform for developing real-time 3D projects. Then we need an SDK to develop the AR application, and we need a compatible device to deploy the application. So for this purposes, the platform that we have used is Unity 3D. The SDK that we have used to develop the application is Vuforia. And finally, we have deployed our application in Android devices. So we have basically designed smart cards which have images that are recognized by the application that we have developed. So this is the slide depicts the marker based AR. This is the card. The left side shows the front side of our card, and the right side showing the back side. So this slide depicts the design of our project. So we are the developers who have taken customer requirements and designed the card and application using Vuforia and Unity. This is basically the framework of our application. It shows the flow of our application. Initially, the user will get some basic information about the disaster, and based on his choices, he can navigate within the application and also enter the AR camera mode. This is the markerless, this is the real life like fire. We've used markerless AR to design a realistic fire outbreak. So as mentioned earlier, our project has a very wide scope. The same idea can be implemented using virtual reality. It can be expanded to cover any disaster, and we could also include features like emergency contact and live location. These are our references, and we are now open for questions.
Yes, Shwetali, nice work. I have one thing in my mind just because I work in Internet of Things. Okay, so I feel very similar what AR technology that you are doing here. So can you please, do you have any idea about the IoT, Internet of Things, and can you please describe the difference between what you are doing in AR technology and what can be done in IoT?
Actually, sir, I have not much knowledge about IoT.
Okay, okay. In virtual reality, what you said that this can also be implemented in VR. So what will be the challenges in that case?
So basically, AR is more cost effective. For virtual reality, we basically need headgears and all of that. And also in virtual reality, we have to design the whole environment as such. AR basically has a real-time environment, right? So it is easier for us to just develop the virtual objects or the superimposition. In virtual reality, and also for our purpose, it will be more beneficial when the user can experience a real-time environment, because virtual reality will not give a real life like experience, which is what we are aiming for here.
Okay. If people means what is happening now, because as the threats to life are not only related to fire, there are many things that happens in your home, and it is quite, if you will see the literature, people have proposed something, a complete system which can provide any kind of life threats in either it is a fire or maybe something else, and that they are putting it on the IoT, and thereafter the data is being processed and accessed, or and according to that, then the things can be either you are giving a message or you are giving alarms to the concerned people. So that is being done. Maybe you people can, your team can look into the IoT application as well. So thank you once again, and
Yes.
Nice attempt. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Shwetali. So next presenter is M. Prem Kumar and his paper title on product of doubt sci-fi fuzzy subgroup.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, very good afternoon. My title is the on product of doubt PsyQ fuzzy subgroup. Is myself is the M. Prem Kumar, this assistant professor in Department of Mathematics in Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology in Chennai. And my guide is Dr. A. Prasanna, is assistant professor in Department of Mathematics in Jamal Muhammad College in Tiruchirappalli in Tamil Nadu. And my friend is the Dharendra Kumar Shukla, is one of my colleagues, the Regional Institute of Education, NCRT in Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. This is my abstract. In this brief communication, we define the algebraic system of the IQ fuzzy subsets and the doubt PsyQ fuzzy subgroups and conjugate doubt PsyQ fuzzy subgroups and doubt PsyQ fuzzy normal subgroups and several algorithms in our the papers are discussing about. These are my introduction. In 19 is developed on in 1990.
His voice was breaking, I think, and he lost his connectivity.
Sir, can you please move to next presenter, sir? So next presenter is Mridul Sharma. The title is on analysis of virtual descriptor for detecting.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible? Can I start?
Yes,
Hello?
please.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
please.
okay, yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Mridul Sharma, and I'm representing on behalf of Information Technology UIT Department, Punjab University. And the title for my paper is Analysis of Visual Descriptors for Detecting Image Forgeries. These are the contents that we will be covering here. We'll talk about the introduction to image forgeries, what literature surveys are, and what are the research gaps that we have found related to image forgery detections, problem statement, objectives, and proposed methodology of our proposed approach, results and discussion, and finally, we'll conclude and see some future scopes. Let's start with the introductory part and talk about what image forgery is. So by the term forgery, I mean fabricating something falsely or tampering it with some significant media by altering the content with malicious intent in order to produce some fake content. And the technology such as the AI and its subset like the machine learning and deep learning that has rise so far and so effectively so that the significant breakthroughs have led to the rise of image forgeries, and detection of such fake content is very important in today's world. So authenticity of any digital content is being highly significant when it's presented as an evidence in courts during legal proceedings or crime investigations or in other sectors. So if we talk about the image forgery, broadly the image forgery, they are classified into the active approaches and the passive blind ones. And basically we will talk about the passive blind approaches, that is the splicing and copy move forgeries. If we talk about copy move forgery, that is a forgery type where a particular subpart of the image is being copied and pasted on same image area multiple times, and it has similar properties such as noise, color, and texture to that of its back image, or we can say the pasted image and the background image has the same properties. In the image splicing, the copied part is from the unknown image source, and during this process, borders between the splice areas and original image, they can be visually distinguished. So detection of image splicing is much easier as compared to the copy move one, because the identification of the tempered content has similar properties. So as I have talked earlier, that it is divided into two broad categories, and the detection methods till now, they basically focus on AI and machine learning models. And the ease of access to pre-trained models, transfer learning, TensorFlow, Keras, and many other deep learning algorithms and machine learning algorithms have made detection of fake content at a much greater pace. Similarly, one such spreading technology named as the GANs have allowed the detection of image forgeries at much easier pace. According to the literature survey for detection of the image forgeries, few of the research gaps that was detected as follows. Existing methods of forgery detection, they focus mainly on some single forensic cues, like some inconsistency in compression or even brightness, texture, and moments. Whereas if we talk about a forger who will forge a particular content, realistically, the image forgery will comprise of multiple forensic traces. And one such another research gap that was found is that the techniques that was applying for copy move forgery was not fitting well for image splicing or resampling techniques. So these aforementioned limitation of image forgery detection do not provide a common solution to all kind of forgeries, and thus they affect the privacy of an individual. So our problem statement is that our proposed approach focus on each image descriptor solitary to reflect the intrinsic content and identify image forgeries from different approaches and angles. Analysis of each feature individually by deep ensemble route provide rich information regarding the image content. Main objectives behind our work is that we extracting and analyze 4 different significant characteristics of an image that were brightness, movements, edge detail, and texture. And we have used Acacia version 2.0 dataset that comprised all of the passive blind approaches like resampling, image splicing, and copy move forgery. What we did is that we identified and selected some specific features individually, and then fed them to the CNN model with transformed instances so that the same input image amplifies at the learning process of the CNN model. Our proposed methodology have different handcrafted image features like color spaces, texture through hog, edges through Sobel operator, and moments like hue. And what we did is we pre-processed our images. We specifically firstly did a all images were resized to a fixed target size of 120 by 20. We normalized them by dividing it by 255 so that pixel values lies between 0 and 1. Then fed each input images to the CNN model for training and learning process. This is the summarized view of our proposed methodology. We took different image features and then fed it to the trained CNN model to identify the scores. Further, we combined all these scores to an ensemble classifier also to hype our classification score. These are the visualization of few image features from Acacia version 2.0 dataset. To the extreme left is the hog features, middle is the Sobel, and extreme right is the hue moments. These are the experimental setup summarized. We have taken the evaluation dataset to only a fixed number of size, that is 4,000, and manually split those data. And the performance parameters are that we have taken the input image size, resized them to 120 by 120. Number of epochs that we ran our CNN is 30. Batch size we have taken is 32. And loss function is binary cross entropy with optimizer ADAM. These are the results for 353 samples only, which includes the texture, edges, brightness, and moments, where edges were much better in detection for detection of the image forgeries as compared to the moments. Further, we also increased our image samples to 4607 samples. That gave us an accuracy of 90.3%. For increasing and boosting overall detection accuracy, we took ensemble network and we saw a hyped result. In ensemble network, due to technical vulnerabilities, I took a simple ensemble network and not many high versions of the ensemble networks. These are the result visualization. To the extreme left is for 353, in the middle is for 4,000 images, and to the extreme right is the for the ensemble network. This is the comparison with one of the base paper that we have taken. Similarly, they have used one of the technique for identification of the image forgeries, where they took different image features like brightness, edge features, and texture, including the noise features also. Their architecture was 4-layered architecture, whereas ours was 3-layer architecture. And in case of the brightness, edge feature, and texture, our model was much accurately detecting the image forgeries as compared to theirs. And they ran the model for 100 epochs, and whereas our model ran for 50 epochs only. So concluding our result, the existing methods of forgery detection, they are vulnerable to attacks, either in the form of compression, blurriness, brightness, texture, etc. And detection techniques for copy move forgery, that doesn't fit well for other detection, for other splicing techniques or image forgery techniques. So it becomes very important to have a common solution to all kind of forgeries. So our model has the capability to detect and the image features from different aspects. Despite in our work, we have taken CNN model, and despite the capability of CNN as a generic feature extractor to detect the spatial patterns, we additionally gave the extracted image characteristics to the CNN in order to analyze the images and in order to hype the learning process and amplify the learning process of CNN. In future, we can work on whole evaluation data set and access the impact of adding more layers to the CNN. And change other hyperparameters also. We can also work with the GAN technique in order to detect the image forgeries from videos, which can be explored in future. Some other compression characteristics or forensic cues can also be involved in order to incorporate, in order to detect the image forgeries. These are few of the references. Thank you.
Thank you, Mridul. Very nice presentation from you. I just have one thing to ask you, that see, image forgeries are not of one type; they are of different types. Okay, image can be forged by many things, many ways. Okay. Now, what I want to ask you, that which features that you have selected, okay, individual features that you have selected, how do you understand from those features that which forgery, image forgery is being actually present in that image?
Okay, so basically this data set that I have taken was Acacia version 2 data set that was comprising of resampled image, also copy move image also, and the sliced images also. When I started my ME work, then I took machine learning approaches, where Acacia data set was not giving much better detection techniques. So what I did is I basically focused on extracting different characteristics and different image features. And when I analyzed it with CNN model, uh, um, after changing many hyperparameters, sometimes the model was giving great accuracy for whole of the data set. But when I was feeding it with different aspects of the image characteristics, it was hyping up with the results. So I thought, why not to include more features, multiple cues, and then incorporate them to same CNN architecture in order to hype the result. Particularly that you are asking which how CNN model identify different features. That is not exact version that I have depth into or digged into, but my main motto was to detect the image forgery with the aspect of CNN, having different image features that could identify the image forgeries from different angles and different approaches.
Right. So that's what I feel, that somewhere you should correlate with this feature, the image forgery, with these features. If you can do that in future, that will be a great thing, because then it will be very clear to somebody, because I know that every feature in that image is not helpful to identify that forgery. Okay, some very specific features may be useful, but if you give it to directly to your deep learning architecture without doing because deep learning architecture perform its own feature engineering on its own. Okay, we need not do any feature engineering in advance. But in that cases, the problem of overfitting and underfitting takes the things away from the performance. Okay, that is why it is a good idea to find out the features, those who are related to some particular image forgery, and use that particular feature to learn and to identify that forgery. So nice work, Mridul. My best wishes for you for the future. Next candidate, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. M. Prem Kumar, can you continue, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is visible, ma'am?
Yes,
Ma'am?
visible. And I
Okay.
request to you please wrap up it into time limit, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is my title of this product of doubts, IQ, fuzzy subgroups and normal subgroups. In my definition one, the xi, the where xi of xi, eta of xi be the doubt psi fuzzy subsets of the sets and two sets in the H and K. This will be the product of xi q fuzzy subsets. Will be the condition is the psi of this product of eta of xi of the gamma comma home comma q, that's equal to the maximum condition of the xi of gamma comma q and eta of xi of home comma q. So q belongs to again the q set and gamma belongs to again one set in H and home belongs to the H. Then another one definition is the product of psi q fuzzy subgroup. The fuzzy subgroup, the psi q fuzzy subset of the group H is the product of psi q belongs to close interval 0, 1. That is called the fuzzy set. So if the condition is the following conditions, the psi of gamma home comma q less than or equal to the maximum condition of psi of gamma comma q, the psi of home comma q. Then another one condition is the psi of gamma inverse comma q less than or equal to the psi of gamma comma q. That is called the conjugate of the psi fuzzy subgroup. Then another one's definitions, the product of psi q fuzzy normal subgroups. The psi q fuzzy normal subgroups, the psi of gamma home comma q, that's equal to psi home comma gamma comma q for all gamma home belongs to H and q belongs to q. Then another one definition, the conjugate with the doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup. Then psi q fuzzy subgroup, the psi of psi is the group in H, then H belongs to capital H and q belongs to q. This is the following the condition, the psi of H comma q is equal to eta psi of gamma inverse H, the gamma comma q. Those are my results. The let psi of psi and eta of psi be the doubt psi fuzzy subgroup. The groups H and K, if psi of the eta of psi at the doubt psi q fuzzy normal subgroup, then product of the psi int, then product of eta of psi is the product of psi k fuzzy normal subgroup. Then another one proposition, let the doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup, the eta of psi of in a group H conjugate, the psi q fuzzy subgroup, then the group H and doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup, the xi of psi is a group in K is the conjugate of doubt is the xi q fuzzy subgroup of kappa, then will be the xi q fuzzy subgroup and the xi of psi, the product of eta of psi is the conjugate of the group H into K, then doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup. Those are my results. This is the results in the let psi into eta of psi be the doubt psi q fuzzy subgroups in a groups H and K respectively. Then eta of psi of home comma q less than or equal to, then psi of psi I comma q. So the I is the neutral element, then I is the neutral element as well as the natural elements. So the xi of psi, the cross product of eta of psi is could be the doubt for psi q fuzzy subgroup of H, the cross product of K. Then eta of psi could be the doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup of K. These are my conclusion. This paper is the concludes the novel ideas, the concept of the doubt psi q fuzzy subsets, the doubt psi q fuzzy subgroup of these groups, and propose of the product of psi q fuzzy subgroup and fuzzy normal subgroups is the multi-algebraic results in derived. Those are my references. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. M. Kumar.
Yes,
Prem
sir.
Kumar, it is little bit more theoretical because it would have been a very good treat to understand us if you could have given some example, some taking some, because when we do fuzzy subgrouping, right? Say that
Yes,
I have a set of values there, and if I am creating the subgroups, fuzzy subgroups from that, what is the present way of doing that subgrouping? Do you know that? Fuzzy subgroups?
These fuzzy subgroups, the set of elements, you can have, for example, for the H belongs to capital G means the G is the group and H is the subgroup. So I take in the elements, all the elements I can apply the membership value. That is called the fuzzy subgroup. So you can apply the fuzzy subgroups. Now only are present going on. So
Right.
what is the
So it is that that subgroup we derived from the membership functions, right?
yes, yes.
In your case, how you're doing that finding of that subgroups? Is it have you
Now I using one fuzzy set, then kappa ZQ fuzzy set. I have included one of the fuzzy set. I take in a membership value. I take in only for the maximum values I have taken. The fuzzy is the minimum value. I take in maximum value.
right? This way, it is really easy to understand us,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Next presentation, please.
Yes, sir. So next presenter is Sandeep Kejriwal, and his paper title on a technical review on machine learning based prediction on COVID-19 diagnosis. Hello, hello, sir.
Mr. Sandeep.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible. Please start your presentation, sir.
Is my screen visible to you all?
Yes. Yes, sir. Visible it is.
Yes. So, hello and good afternoon to all. Myself, Sandeep Kejriwal, and currently I am a final year MTech scholar from NIT Pondicherry. This is my first conference, so pardon any rookie mistake. So, my topic for survey paper is a technical review on machine learning based prediction on COVID-19 diagnosis. So the overview is basically we'll start with the problem statement, then we'll go along with the abstract introduction, then we will cover the machine learning approaches used in order to diagnose the COVID-19 disease. And we will then cover the literature survey of different papers, and we'll conclude. So the project is basically the study of various mechanisms to predict, diagnose, and screen COVID-19 disease, because of which the present worldwide community health crisis has been caused. And the objective of this study is to obtain knowledge on most recent development in AI technology to battle the COVID-19 disease. Scientists and medical specialists have been working 24/7 to find new ways to battle COVID-19 disease because of the present worldwide health crisis which has been caused. ML has recently been proved to be successfully used in the healthcare sector for a variety of operation. And in order to tackle the COVID-19 epidemic, this review examined the most recent research and the development on the most cutting edge application of the machine learning, and the most recent development in AI technology are analyzed and summarized. The COVID-19 prediction, diagnosis, and the screening have all improved dramatically due to the recent machine learning research and the development, which has led to better and quick responses towards disease identification. And this review paper will basically aid the healthcare research organization, institution, and the public officials by providing a fresh perspective into how machine learning can manage the COVID-19 virus and push future studies and the research to minimize the COVID-19 pandemic. So the COVID-19 is basically an infection that is caused by the coronavirus type 2, and that causes severe respiratory symptom in the patient. And the patient affected by the COVID-19 basically feel exhaustion, fever, loss of taste and smell, dry cough, and respiratory illness related issues. And the diagnostic test and the antibody test are where the current standard methods for detecting the coronavirus illness in the early early days. Also, the identification of the coronavirus illness diagnostic and the antibody test were all made in accordance with the conventional procedure, which were all costly, time consuming, and lack in effectiveness. And above all, these methods were do not provide actual positive rates. And the medical science combined with the artificial intelligence has improved the accuracy and the efficiency of detection of this disease by the radiologist, and minimizing the burden on schedules, and like which basically helps towards the treatment. And it is also possible to find medication that are effective against novel coronavirus disease using various machine learning algorithm and the drug repurposing. And moving to the next slide, machine learning. Basically, machine learning basically focuses on how computer may learn from their past experience. We know that there are basically two kind of machine learning approaches that we use, supervised and the unsupervised. In this research, we basically have used the supervised learning methods, which is like random forest decision tree, SVM, logistic regression. Also, when dealing with the maximum amount of data, it can be like difficult for humans to see patterns and trends that machine learning can immediately pick up on, and may be able to quickly establish a causal relationship amongst the instances. Apart from the identification, it is capable of improving or adapting its operation in the long run. As the amount of data grows, so does the level of efficiency, and the accuracy will also grow. So there are various methods which has been used by different papers have been used. Mostly I have taken the papers which have used the chest x-ray as an image for detecting and screening and diagnosing the coronavirus, and have mentioned the different three different aspects from the paper, that is accuracy, specificity, and the sensitivity. And I will basically discuss the basic of the machine learning approaches which have been used in the paper mentioned in the literature survey. The first one is the logistic regression. So every machine learning algorithm works best under a given set of condition, and making sure that the algorithm fits within the assumption or the requirement ensures that the performance of the algorithm. We also can't use any algorithm in any condition, and in a situation of categorical dependent variable, we should try using the algorithm such as logistic regression, decision tree, SVM, and all. So logistic regression is basically a classification algorithm, and it basically uses the binary kind of outcome as a kind of as an output of the prediction model. And you can also think logistic regression as a special case of linear regression, where the outcome variable is categorical. And basically, this is the equation which is used in the logistic regression, where this p by 1 by p is the odd ratio. So whenever this log of odd ratio is found to be positive, the probability of success is always going to be more than 50%. So the next
Hello, sorry, sir, for interruption. Please,
yes, yes, I will cut two slide left.
sure, sir. Thank you.
So the next is SVM. SVM is basically a learning algorithm that is used for regression and the classification learning task. The dataset points are represented in terms of space and are divided into points of different groups, which like basically uh, the points with the similar kind of structure fall into the same group, and the data are considered as a p-dimensional for linear SVM that can be partitioned by the size of p minus 1 hyperplanes. Therefore, the main objective of the SVM is to find the best option for this, like the best distance between the hyperplane, which can distinguish the data samples. The third is the decision tree algorithm. So decision tree machine learning algorithm is basically used to divide learning activities where the tree is constructed by dividing the data set into smaller set until each partition is clean and pure, and the data classification depends on the type of the data. And the goal is basically to create a model that predicts the value of target variable by learning simple decision rules inferred from the data features. And in conclusion, we have concluded from the literature survey paper that the SVM with the multi-level threshold has obtained the highest accuracy of 97.48 percentage, along with the specificity, and the CNS based DTRAC model gives the highest sensitivity of 97.91%. So these are the references. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. Am I right?
Yes,
But
Sandeep Kejriwal.
Sandeep, it would have been interesting to see what data has been used for the detection. See, methods are,
Mostly.
these are all conventional machine learning methods and being used for a long time by many researchers in different applications, right? But
Correct.
finding COVID-19 only from chest X-ray, why, or chest CT, why it has stuck at that particular data? We need that could have been focused maybe in your this review, because what I feel, it's not only the chest X-ray. If you also must have interacted with some COVID patients, and they must have majorly, though doctors will might have diagnosed the COVID-19 by looking at their um, what I will say that laboratory test, like there is a D
Correct.
dimer, there is a
Correct. There can be multiple
multiple
like hemoglobin level, RBC
hemoglobin
level,
levels.
platelet levels. Yes.
Those parameters are more informative compared to the chest X-ray. Reason is that, let me tell you, whatever the coverage that chest X-ray in chest X-ray it has been shown, even in the COVID-19 also, many doctors have told that don't go for the chest X-ray, because that is not the correct indication for the COVID-19. Reason is that that infection or coverage of the lung areas can be because of some other things as well. Okay. Rather, they said that it is better you go for some your blood test, where you can see your D dimer, where you can see your other
Blood
levels,
oxygen
and
level.
yeah, based on that, maybe the studies can be conducted. So that is where I felt somehow looking into major of the studies which are focused on this chest X-ray, okay, to find out the COVID-19, okay. But it would have been interesting to see the other data as well. So thank you anyways. And
Sure, sir. So I will definitely keep
yeah,
a note of the feedback which you have given. We'll
right,
try to implement as a scope of future work.
right.
So thank you for
Yeah,
the
thank you,
feedback. Yeah.
thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank you, Sandeep.
I think we have reached at the end of our session today. Am I right, Riddhi?
Yes, sir. There is a no session right now.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
So
thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you very
yes,
much to our authors for their excellent presentation and for their great contribution to this session. And thank you to all our participants for participating in this conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all. Also, all the presenter would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already been forwarded to the Swinger, and the publication will be live within 5 to 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of ICTIS 2022. And on behalf of Team ICTIS and the Global Knowledge Research Foundation, I would like to thank our session chair for chairing the session, Dr. Narendra sir. Sir, this is a token of your appreciation. Thank you for your valuable presence, sir.
thank you, Riddhi. Basically, this session was really informative. We have covered range of topics from image forgery to augmented reality, then COVID-19, and even most importantly, the presentation from the Ashutosh ji regarding the test bench they have prepared for the cyber security. It was really a treat for me to chair this session, and I really enjoyed it. I wish all the success to all the participants, and have a good time at ICTIS 2022.
Yes, sir. It was really good, informative session to all, sir. So, thank you, sir, for your valuable presence. And the end of the session, I kindly request to all to on the camera for quick snapshot of the virtual conference. Please turn on your camera, all, sir. Just a second. Okay, perfect. So, take care, stay safe, and also thank you to all.